Hey guys, and a very warm welcome to Friday Fretworks. This week I wanted to take the chance. I realise I start every episode by saying I want to take a chance, so I want to take the opportunity, but this week genuinely is something a little bit different that I don't get to do all that often, and that is building a new pedalboard. This isn't the pedalboard that I mentioned in a recent episode. That board is still currently being built by Custom Pedalboards up in North Wales. This is a board to get me through one show, for two reasons. Primarily because my main pedalboard has now been dismantled, just to kind of mock up where the pedals are going to be going and how much space they take up in order to have the new pedalboard built. But primarily because the show this pedalboard is for is not my own show. It's a show where I'm getting up as a special guest. If anyone's interested, it is tomorrow, by the time you're watching this video, at the garage in Swansea, Saturday, December something 9th, I think, maybe. I lost track. But as I said, it's not my show, which the last thing you want to do when it's not your gig is be the big I am that's turning up with a massive pedalboard, big amp setup, lots of guitars, and generally taking up more space than you were invited to. So I thought I would throw together something that's a little bit more manageable, but primarily takes up considerably less floor space, and is less a statement of here I am, get out of the way, which is what a big pedalboard can do on occasion. In the wrong situation, in the right situation, it's great. You know, if it's your own show, fantastic. You're the headliner. You're the guy in control, I guess. Crack on. But when it's not your show and I'm getting up as a kind of part of someone else's band, just be a little bit more subtle, I guess, and be a little bit more respectful of the fact that it's not all about you. So I thought I would take the chance just to show you what pedals I'm using, explain why I'm using those pedals, what they're attached to, what board they're on, what power supply I'm using, what cables, all that kind of fun stuff, and then generally how it sounds. So as I said, it's not an opportunity I get all that often. I will be documenting the building of the big pedalboard, we shall call it, as well, and that'll be up in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, something a little bit different, so I hope you enjoy it. So, as you can see, the state of my current board is rather unplayable. It's all still stuck to this pedal train, but nothing's plugged in, nothing is powered up, and it's generally in a state which is not gig ready. And at this point it is easier just to throw a new pedalboard together than try to wire all that up again. So I guess the only things left to choose are what pedals are going to be stuck to this little pedal train. For anyone wondering, it is an older model pedal train Mini. I think they've changed their kind of system recently, so I don't know whether it's called the Mini anymore. I know they've got the Metro and the kind of smaller ones. And this is a pedal train too, for anyone wondering. Right, first place to start is probably a tuner. So we have a choice of either the Polytune, or I don't know whether it's in shot, we have the Boss Chromatic Tuner, which is probably the one I'm going to go for no other reason than it is currently in my hand. We've got our power cables here, patch cables even, a mix of MXR and Hoser pancake jacks. As I said, I think this pedalboard is going to be quite tight. So, next port of call, for me at least, is going to be a clean boost of some description. I've yet to find an amp that doesn't respond well to a Klon type circuit. And the two most obvious choices we have here are the Centura and the Klon KTR. Purely for the fact that that is infinitely smaller than that, I'm going to go for the KTR. It sounds very similar. I actually did a video comparing the two a little while ago, should you want to check that out. So I'm going to go with a clean boost. So, let's have a look. As I said, I've got a feeling this is going to be quite tight, so where possible I am going to try and keep things as tidy as possible and as tight as possible as well. So, right, so we've got the KTR. Let's put that right up to the pancake jack coming out of the TU3. And there we have the first pedal. Might as well plug the power input while we're at it. This board was wired up for power from a little while ago. What was I using it as? It was an acoustic pedalboard. It was being run with a couple of pedals on it: tuner, compression pedal, a clean boost, and a reverb pedal for the acoustic part of Buckingham's tour, which we did over the summer. But it's now finding use elsewhere. I actually also used this pedalboard on tour in Spain, Buffalo Summer in April, when I used what is probably going to be a pretty similar board to the one I'm building now. So after the clean boost, for me it's going to be a compressor, and honestly I've yet to come across any compressor that does the job even nearly as well as the Kali 76 Compact Deluxe. It's a couple of quid's worth, but in my opinion worth every penny. It really is a beautiful compressor, modelled after, if I'm not mistaken, the 1176 studio compressors, and it sounds very much like a studio compression. You get that kind of that clarity and that sort of just, you know, it maintains the signal, which is very cool for a compressor. So we're going to get this on. Again, one thing about this pedal board is it will weigh an absolute ton, courtesy of the Kali 76, which is not a light pedal. So, after the KTR, we are into the Kali 76. Again, I'm going to butt that right up against the KTR. As such, apologies for that stain, whatever that is. Probably from a gig drink of some description. Not mine, I would hasten to add. Next, we have a choice. For the set that I'm going to be playing on Saturday, it's going to be a fairly kind of bluesy rock set, I guess. Probably a couple of Hendrix tunes, just generally jamming out. There's no official set list, so I want stuff that can cover a pretty wide array of stuff, but knowing that it's not going to be too outlandish. We're probably not going to need any modulation, we're not going to need phasers, any of that kind of stuff. So I think to be on the safe side, I'm probably going to go with a fuzz pedal. And this is not only to hand, but a very, very cool sounding pedal. It is from VS Audio, the guys out in Athens in Greece, and is very much based on that kind of fuzz face kind of deal. Glorious sounding thing. Let's get that plugged in. So we're going to come out of the Kali 76 and into the fuzz. Interestingly enough, or at least for me anyway, probably not for anyone else, I tend to run my compression pedals before my overdrive, or in this case before the fuzz, although I probably won't pair it with the fuzz, to be honest. I find that a touch of compression, we've lost some Velcro, which would be why that is moving around. Tend to run them before the overdrive, and just generally, especially with this compressor, really like the way they interact, or it interacts with overdrive pedals. So, fuzz in place, we go on to a fairly big choice, to be honest, and for me it's going to come down to these two. And if the fact that King of Tone won't come off the pedal board is trying to hint at me taking the Amp 11, I think I probably am going to go for the Amp 11, to be honest, just for something different. I rely on the King of Tone so heavily with the main board. It's nice just to kind of use something different every now and then. You know, inspires different playing, inspires different sounds. I've got a feeling if we mount that in its kind of correct orientation, we're not going to get the final pedal on, which is going to be this. So I think we're probably going to have to do that kind of thing. So let's get another pancake jack. Bang, crash, wallop. And I think we're probably going to have to put that under there, bring it out the other side and into the input. As such. Oh, and we have power. I'm guessing there must be a battery. There we go, that is secured. And then finally, as I said, underrated is probably the wrong word for this because it's a very highly respected overdrive pedal, but in terms of me having forgotten about it for quite a while, I'm going to say it's underrated. As soon as I bought the Empress tape delay, this was kind of kicked off the board, to be honest, primarily because it's fairly one-dimensional in that respect, in that that has presets, that has a multitude of different options to either sound like a pristine digital delay or a kind of, you know, saturated tape delay, whereas this does what it does, and that's about it. So that was swiftly kicked off the board. But having used this again recently, I took it on tour to Spain in April. It's a gorgeous sounding delay pedal. It's so cool, and if anything, I've kind of grown to re-love the kind of simplicity of it. You know, we can do that kind of whacked out analog delay stuff at the touch of a finger, as opposed to kind of shifting through sub-menus and all that kind of stuff that's in the Empress. So for that reason, it's getting a call up from the bench. And there we have it, I think. If that sticks down there. There we go, we're just about on the pedal board. As I thought, it's fairly tight. But we're just about on. Let's get that tucked away under there. Right, let's get some power. So, need that to go there. We got power there. We have, where is the power input? Ah, that's a good point. The power input for the Amp 11 is under here, which conveniently doesn't want to go in. There we go. Fuzzytale is powered. We need power to the Kali 76. Incidentally, this Kali 76 is going to be running at 9 volts for this gig, purely because that's all the Pedal Train Nano, which is, not Nano, what's it called? The Volto. That's all it's capable of supplying. Under ordinary circumstances, I would be running it at 18 volts from my Voodoo Labs pedal power, but obviously that's not possible this evening. And lastly, we need one more power thing, what they call cables, which that one shall do. Apologies, anyone watching who is used to watching the likes of Mr. Dan Steinhardt putting together these gorgeously well thought through and beautiful rigs is probably having a mind freak out at the fact that there are a couple of loose ends, shall we say, on this board at the moment, but it shall serve a purpose and it shall get me through the gig. There we go. As I said, I'm going to be throwing a Pedal Train Volto underneath here, which is currently on charge in another room, which will be attaching with Velcro just in there. It's not too bad, it's not too untidy underneath. We've got a random bit of gaffer tape, stick that there. But aside from that, we are very much good to go. Let's see how it sounds. So, first and foremost, we have probably not the most exciting pedal in the world, but incredibly functional. And it's very good at that function. It is the Boss TU3 Chromatic Tuner. Does exactly what it says in the tin. Well, supposedly keeps me in tune. And acts as a mute switch should things get a little bit noisy at the end of the song. So we shall bypass that and go on to something a little bit more exciting. We've got the Klon KTR. As I mentioned, there's a full demo video of that I shot on YouTube. It sounds very, very similar to my Centura, the Seriatone, but has found its place on this board purely because it's a little bit smaller. So, and it's very good at spicing up what would ordinarily maybe be a little bit of a kind of sterile clean tone. Incidentally, we are running this guitar, which is my made in Japan Squier Silver Series, into Guitar Rig, purely for the fact that it is now 20 past 10, and I would probably kill the neighbours. So, or they would kill me more to the point, if I plugged it into an actual amp. So here we go, without the KTR and then with. As I said, spices up what would potentially be a little bit of a sterile clean tone. Moving on, we have the Kali 76 Origin Effects Compact Deluxe. As I said earlier, it's a fantastic sounding compressor pedal, very musical, very dynamic, and it doesn't kind of give you that horrible sort of blanket compression that you can get from cheaper compressor pedals. Very cool feature as well is that it has the dry blend, so if you don't want too much compression you can bring that up, or conversely if you want that kind of very squashy kind of Sultans of swing kind of thing, bring it up. But yeah, very versatile, very cool sounding compressor that tends to work very nicely with overdrive pedals as well, which is a very cool feature. Or not so much as a feature, so much as a kind of fortuitous little thing I've discovered. So again, without and then with. It's not set kind of dramatically, it's just set just for a little bit of level increase, and just a touch of compression that kind of evens things out, especially very nicely with a Strat. As I said, works very well with the Amp 11 as well, so if we combine those two for a second. As as I said, pairs very well with overdrive pedals, especially the Amp 11, which is a gorgeous sounding overdrive. Moving back, we go on to the fuzz. I mentioned in a previous video that I'm not a massive fan of fuzz pedals in isolation, to be honest, especially fuzz face type circuits. I find if you run it into a clean amp, they can be a little bit kind of serrated sounding, I guess, for want of a better word, very kind of thin and very harsh and very in your face. Where it does get interesting is when you pair it with either a cranked amp that is kind of into natural breakup and natural compression, or something that kind of is meant to emulate that, i.e. an overdrive pedal. So we'll try it in isolation anyway, but as I said, I've never been the kind of biggest fan of them. Maybe it's just me not knowing how to get the best out of them, but you'll kind of maybe see what I mean now. So we'll turn the compression off. I guess kind of there are obviously uses for that, kind of namely very badly played satisfaction, but aside from that, I think the magic kind of comes when you turn on a bit of an overdrive pedal that fattens things up. So as I said, very, very cool sounding pedal. Last but definitely not least, we have the way huge Aqua, which set, as I'll probably be using it, it's just a little bit of slapback as such. Pair that with, say, the Amp 11. Very nice fattener for solo tones. Incidentally, speaking of solos, we've got the boost side of the circuit in the Amp 11, which is very cool as well, independently works. But for the uses I should be getting out of it tomorrow, we have got both sides stacked together, which sounds as such. So there you have it. As I said, it's not the most versatile board in the world, but it's going to cover exactly what I'm looking to do at this gig, and in that respect it's the perfect board for it. It's not too big, it's not too small, so as much to limit me as kind of what options I have, but just gives me enough to get through what is probably going to be about a 45-minute set, I guess, without too much worries. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, stick around. In a couple of weeks' time there will be the video documenting the building process of the big board, which will be a little bit more involved, and at least on my part, infinitely more stressful. So yeah, stick around. As ever, if you enjoyed this, please watch, you've already done that. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good YouTube stuff, which generally kind of means I can keep on going with this stuff. You know, as long as you're enjoying it, I'll keep on making it. So just let me know if there's anything you'd like me to see differently, like me to do differently even, or any suggestions you have for future videos, all that kind of stuff. Just, yeah, hit me up, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So I have said the word stuff far too much, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and I shall see you next week for Friday Fretworks. Cheers guys.